What's going on, guys? It's your girl Danii Gold, and welcome to the Gold Spot Podcast. So, I have a very special guest here with me today. He's probably one of your favorite R&B singers. He has several hits that I'm sure is on several of your playlists. He has timeless records. He doesn't go out of style at all. He's an award-winning artist, all of that. So, without further ado, I introduce Donell Jones to the Gold Spot
Hey,
Podcast.
what's up? How you doing? How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing
Hey,
fine. How are you doing it today?
oh man, I'm incredible, man. Life is beautiful. Couldn't ask for more.
That's good. That's
Yes.
good. So you've been in the game a very long time. And so since this is my first time interviewing you, I want to start off questions just taking it back. You're from
Okay.
Chicago, Chicago native, which is right next door to me. I stay in St. Louis.
Okay. Oh
So
yeah. Sister
yeah, so
City.
we
Yeah.
we neighbors. So
Yeah.
being that you're a Chicago native, how did your environment inspire you to want to start a singing career?
Just growing up in the inner city, just being a child growing up in Chicago was amazing. Because being in Midwest, you get the East Coast and you get the West Coast, plus you got, what happens in the Midwest. So I mean, for me, growing up in Chicago was amazing. And a lot of people don't know that a lot of musicians come from Chicago. And they tend to move other places, but Chicago is like a breeding ground for musicians and for actors and for a lot of people who tend to leave and go other places.
Right. And so you haven't had well, okay, let me take it back. Your last album came out in 2013 titled Forever. So since then, what have you been up to as far as life, as far as music? Like what's been going on since then?
I just been, doing some me. I've been really trying to change my life and just focus on the things that I need to do to be a better me. I have a young son and I have a young daughter. I have 6 kids in total, but my two younger ones came a little bit later in life. So I want to be able to be in their life, and I took some time off to do that, as well as just, like I said, just become a better person all the way around. So that's what I've been doing for the last 7 years.
And within the last 7 years, social media has taken off like tremendously, like specifically Instagram. So do you feel like you have to keep up with the times of like all this new technology when it comes to like, making sure you have an appearance on social media, or do you feel like, oh, it just comes as second nature? Like you got this, it's nothing.
Nah, I feel like I got to keep up because um, you know, first it was the MySpace days, you know what I'm saying? And I really wasn't into that either. So I mean, for me, it's catching up, but also, just staying out there, staying relevant, and just going with the times. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what it is now, so I just gotta jump in there. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate what's going on. I love the fact that I can communicate with so many people at one time. So I mean, it's a beautiful thing.
Absolutely. It's definitely really good for networking purposes and just people you haven't seen or talked to in a while. So it's definitely good going, across all boards.
Yes.
So being that you've been in the music industry, for, quite some years, you've seen the good and the bad. And so, there's been a lot of things coming out in the music industry as far as artists, coming out speaking out against their label, 360 deals and all of that. So being that you were part of a time where that, a lot of artists weren't really speaking about their labels, and now it's just coming out as a lot of artists want to be independent. So how do
Right.
you feel about the current state of like artists and just in regards to the music industry and dealing with all these labels and such?
I mean, I feel like, for a long time, labels are like slave owners. You know what I'm saying? Like, if we create the music, like in my case, I create the music, I sing it, I write it, and so I should own it. Why shouldn't I be able to own my own masters and own my own music? I understand that they put up the money and they fund the money, but that's not enough to take claim to somebody's life's work. So I understand the artists of today. And I think that they all do need to take ownership of their catalog. And it's very important that moving forward that we understand that, you know, we are important. You know what I'm saying? Without the content, you have nothing. So you can have all the money in the world, but if you have no content, you have nothing. So I mean, the labels, they really need us. And if you know, it would be great if they made a whole new system and did things differently. But honestly, we don't even need it anymore. You know what I'm saying? It's old, it's worn out, it's been used, and it's been done. You know what I'm saying? So now the way that the internet is and the way that we can communicate with fans and the way that it's all really about streaming nowadays, a label is not really necessary. I mean, once you connect with your fans and you build a fan base, you can have that direct connection with them, which makes it so much better.
That's true. But it took some time though. It's like there's like artists like you and other several artists that had to deal with, labels, and pretty much you all had to pave the way and say, hey, y'all really don't need labels. So it's almost like you had to go through the bad just so, to pave the way for other artists to not even want to do it. They're like, oh, you know what, I can do this. Because it's like it's really, really common now. And I commend artists like you that's like, yeah, I'm not really trying to deal with a label, but I think people just want to get famous so quick. And especially nowadays, there's still artists like, hey, I just want, the machine behind me to back me up. So
Right.
it's just really, that's what they decide to, go for. But then, there's other artists like, Chance the Rapper that's like, nah, I don't want to be signed. I'm just going to do this
Right.
by myself, and can be like uber successful. So,
Right.
but taking it back, you said, and I did my research on that you produce the music, you write it, you sing it. What is that process like? Like, where do you even start? Because that's a lot of work just for one person to do. That's almost like a 3 or more person job. So
No,
what's
I
your
mean, well,
process
I've been
like
doing it for
doing it?
so long. I've been doing it for a
Mm-hmm.
long time. So I mean, for me, it's really easy. I mean, it's everything that I write about is a personal experience. It's something I've been through. So that makes it even easier because I'm not creating something that I haven't been through. It's easy when you have lived life and you're writing about the things that you've been through. Secondly, I've been a musician ever since I was 11 years old. My mom bought me a keyboard and I taught myself how to play. Um, and the songwriting came with that. To be honest with you, I was just really blessed to do this. God blessed me to do this. This was my calling, and I followed it every step of the way. So for me, it's not hard because it was in my cards.
Right. So it's just like you just knew you were meant to do this. So it just comes, like I said, just as second nature. It's just like you got this. You
Yeah,
ain't new to this, you true to this. You
yeah. I mean,
got
I've
this.
been doing it for so long, man, and I always feel like it's not me who's doing it. I'm just like the antenna, and everything comes through me. That's how I feel sometimes because I'm in the studio. Sometimes I don't even work. I'm just there. Nothing happens, and then sometimes I'm there and I can't leave for about 4 or 5 weeks because it's just pouring out of me. So it just happens that way.
Right. So you were part of an era where, everyone says 90s music is like the best music. And I mean, I'm a 90s baby, so, I've listened to 70s and 80s music, but there's some about the 90s music. And so it's like that genre, like the 90s R&B is just like an era where it's like the most sampled music. Like your music's been sampled several times, from Chris Brown to Division to DJ Mustard. So how do you feel about, the new R&B artists that have came after you?
I appreciate it. Sampling records didn't start right there. We sampled a lot of records back then in the '90s. Like it really started then when we really started sampling Alicia Myers and the Isley Brothers, and so
Stevie
so we
Wonder and stuff.
yeah, like so that era, it's just coming back around again. You know what I'm saying? Where they starting to sample people like me who become an OG now, in the game. So now, but I really appreciate what the artists are doing. Is giving me new life. Because some of the young cats don't even know who Donell Jones is. So, when they hear somebody else do my record and they can go back and reference it to the original, they're like, oh, okay, they can put 2 and 2 together. Same thing we did, back in the days. So I can really appreciate what they're doing. It's music, and you got to really love it.
And I can definitely attest to that because I had never heard Knocks Me Off My Feet by Stevie Wonder until I heard yours. I was like, oh, I like this. And then somebody was like, you know, Stevie Wonder made that first. I was like, oh, so it's that. I thought it was Donell Jones song. So I can
Yeah,
definitely relate to that. Like, you know, you hear from, you know, it being sample first and then it takes you back like, oh, okay, so this is the originator. Okay, but you still
right.
did it as good. I still, you know, bounce back and forth like, I don't know, I like both of them. I kind of, you know, they're the tie. So
Yeah, I mean, well, you know what? I mean, Stevie Wonder is the master. So, I mean, you know, anything you do of his, I mean, I really wouldn't want to touch that record, but, you know, they made me.
yeah. Like, well, you know, if I'm gonna do it, I guess I'm gonna just do it like how I'm
Yeah.
really do it. Yeah. All right, y'all. So we're gonna take a little break, and when we come back, we're gonna talk about Donell Jones' new album and you know the current state of the world and voting. So stick around, y'all. We'll be back.
Right.
All right, y'all. We are back. So not a lot of artists can, you know, make several albums, and now you're on your seventh album that's coming out
Yeah.
soon, titled 100% Free. So what pretty much inspired you to release another album, or just even what inspired the title first off?
Well, the title is inspired by, you know, this year marks the year that, you know, I'm not in any contracts with anybody. I'm actually 100% free from contracts. I'm 100% free from self-sabotage. You know, 13 years ago when I made a record called Lyrics, I was going through a change in my life, and I just wanted to change everything. And it actually took me these 7 years to do it. So I became free from a lot of things that wasn't good for me spiritually. You know what I'm saying? Because I was living for my flesh at that time. So now, you know what I'm saying? I'm really 100% free all the way around. You know, I don't drink anymore. I don't smoke weed. You know what I'm saying? I don't. It's a lot of things that I quit, and it's not for everybody, but I had to do it for me. You know what I'm saying? Because this is the life. This is where my life is going. So I feel really good at where I'm at right now, and you know, I feel like the times that we're in, you know, we need this. We need a free album. People are not really financially secure anymore. A lot of people are going through heartaches and pains, and what's more special than giving them a album about love, true R&B, and giving it to them for free. You know, so that 100% free thing means a lot. It means a whole bunch of things because I think we need to be free from a lot of things.
Hmm. So, what advice would you give artists that you know that either want to make it in the entertainment industry, and even artists that are in a contract thing? You know, they really don't know how to get out, or and they want to become independent, and you know, like you are 100% free.
I would say, you know, just always give your all, no matter if you're in a contract or not. You know what I'm saying? Fulfill your agreement, but make sure that you give them everything that you got. Give them, you know, don't try to shortchange it, you know, because you still want to make sure that your fans love you. So always do your best, no matter what the situation is. Always give your best, and you know, it's always going to work out in the end. You know, I would say just always try to be original, and study the greats. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you go back and study the great people that did it before you. That's how you become greater. And you know, practice makes perfect. So if you do those things, you will be rewarded.
All right, that's good advice. That's good advice. So, have you been following, you know, politics lately as far as like the presidential debates? Like, have you been kind of in tune with all of that?
I'm not really into politics, but I really feel like it's very important for us to get out here and vote. I think this is one of the most important elections of our times, and I think we need to be heard. You know, um, many times we don't do what we're supposed to do, and we ask all the questions. But this time around, it's very important that we make sure that we get out here, we vote, we let our voices be heard, and there's no better time than now. You know, because if you don't vote, then you can't say nothing.
Exactly. And you know, it's like our ancestors, even our grandparents and great grandparents, they fought for the right to vote. So it's just like it'll be a slap in the face if we didn't get out there and exercise our right when they didn't even have the right to vote. Like, you know, they went through hell and back just to vote and just to be, you know, be 100% equal to someone of a different race. So what do you say to people who, like, what's your advice or thoughts on people who don't feel like they need to vote or that it doesn't count or anything like that? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I just say, man, you know what? No matter what you do, you can think whatever you want to think. Get out there and vote, especially this time around. You know what I'm saying? Save all those thoughts for another time. This ain't the time for that. You know what I'm saying? Just get out there, and even if you don't want to vote, even if you don't know who to vote for, do some research, and pick a candidate. Pick somebody in your state who you want to represent you. Um, and just do it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's very important that you do. If you don't, then whatever happens in this world, you really can't say nothing. You're part of the problem, not the solution.
Right. That's true. So you mentioned that you're a father of six. So how do you explain to them the current state of the world in regards to police brutality, the Karens of the world, and even the type of president that we have in office? How do you, have those conversations with your kids to just kind of, prep them and just kind of even encourage them, on how to, get past these struggles every day?
To be honest with you, I don't. I don't. My children are grown. They're adults, and my other children are too young to for me to have that conversation with them right now. Um, to me, I just feel like my children, they'll make the right decision like I did. You know what I'm saying? I don't try to pass any judgment on my children. I don't try to tell them what to do. I want them to figure this life out just like. I don't want. I've never been the type of parent that push my kids to do something that they don't want to do. This is their life. They have to live it. They have to find out what they like and what they don't like. I'm just here to make sure that they get to the point that they need to get to. And if they need me or ever need me, I'm always here for them for that. But um, as a parent, I want my children to become who they want to become and do that.
Hmm. Yeah. Even growing up for me, I really don't remember my parents giving me like a certain talk. It's just kind of like if something was to happen, I can talk to them, but I just never really got like a talk or even my brother, being a young black male, like never really got the talk. It's just like, hey, if something happened, we here, we can talk you through it. But it's almost like you don't want to scare them into like, so what if, you don't want to
Yeah,
scare them like what I gotta watch out for? It's just like let them know the minimum, just be careful, do what you normally supposed to do, be respectful and be careful. But then if something else happens, then it's like, okay, we got to talk. Now we got to really have that conversation. So
yeah.
I,
I think
I
I
think it's
we lead by
good.
example. You know what I'm saying? Like I've always been a great example to them, so I don't really have to tell them anything. I mean, I think they've watched me enough to know that what's good and what's bad, and they also know that they have to figure it out on their own because what was good for me may be bad for them. What was bad for me may be good for them. So I mean, as a parent, my goal is just to sit back. My job is to sit back and just watch them and hope that they do the right thing. And if they ever need me, just to be there for them. But I'm not going to be a dictator.
Yeah, no, I get that. I understand. So taking it back to music, do you like constantly feel pressure to make the same kind of music as like your timeless hits, like the Where I Want to Be, that I love you, what's up, do you feel like you have to constantly like, okay, I got to make something like my last greatest hit, or not even my last greatest hit, but just like something as good as my last album. I gotta, because if I don't, then I may not grasp the attention of my fans again. So how do you feel about that?
You know what? I really don't think about it. If the part that kind of upsets me a little bit is when fans always say, "Oh, I want you to make something like this," but that's almost saying I want you to be the same person you was 15 years ago. And if anybody is the same person they was 15 years ago, something is wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? Like if you don't elevate and grow, then something is wrong with that. Now, when you grow, some people are going to stay with you. Some people are going to fall behind. So everybody can't go with you. So my goal is it's always going to be Donell Jones. What I'm presenting to people will always be me. And I'm just making good music. I've always made the type of music that I like. So, if people still like the type of music that I like, then we're going to be good. If they don't, I understand and we move forward in life, So I've never made records to please fans. I've always made the type of records that I like. And I've been fortunate that people kind of like the same music I like.
Right. No. And then you also, it seems like even with your records, you still sound the same. It's almost like your voice hasn't aged. It's like what you talk about has, the content has changed, but it's just how you sound. It's like you still sound the same as what you did. So it's like it should be easy to kind of resonate with you because it's like, oh, he sounds the same. So, it'd be different if your voice was kind of struggling,
Right.
but you like are 100% still there. So, what should we expect to hear on this new album? You said love, like, do you address any other topics? Do you talk
Oh
about,
yeah.
what
I
else,
talk about
you've been doing? Yeah.
I talk about the current state that we at, where we need to be. I talk about our behavior. I talk about love. I talk about being intimate. I talk about the same things that I've always talked about in my music, um, but it's just going to be a different angle. You know what I'm saying? It's just going to be a little different than excuse me, I'm sorry, than some of the stuff I've done in the past. And I just can't wait for people to hear it. You know what I'm saying? Because it has been fun recording this, and I really can't wait to get to the next project after this one.
So that was my next question. When do you feel like, do you have a date or age of when you want to retire, or it's like, I still got some more stuff I want to sing about? Do you have
I
do
ain't
you
never
think about
retiring.
that?
I ain't never retiring, man. I don't even believe in retirement because yeah. Well, if you work in a 9 to 5 or a job where it's breaking your back, yeah, you do need to retire. But this job is not stressful. The job that I have is something I absolutely love, and it's like therapy for me. I'm getting off my chest all the things that I'm going through, and I'm putting it in records. And people are going through the same thing that I'm going through, and they're getting something out of it. So for me, I really love doing this stuff. Like making music it's not a challenge. It's easy because this is what I was made to do. So I don't really believe in retirement. I just believe that I'm gonna keep doing this until the wheels fall off.
That's good. That's
Yeah.
what's up. So when should we expect the album? When is it coming out?
I'm looking at November next month.
Okay.
Um, but again, like I tell everybody, man, I'm having some issues with some samples that I'm trying to clear. And hopefully we'll get it done on time. But if
Hmm.
not, I'm gonna still release a couple singles. So new music should always be able to hold them over until the album comes.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, it's all about timing, and if it happens to be held back a little bit, it is what it is. Everything happens when it's supposed to.
That's true. That is absolutely true. Well, I appreciate you making an appearance on the Gold Spot podcast.
I appreciate you
You
having
want
me.
to tell the listeners where they can follow you at, all that good stuff. We know you on all streaming sites, but like what's your socials and anything else you want us to know?
Okay, well, first I want to tell the fans, man, thank y'all for rocking with me for so long. It's been over 25 years, and I really appreciate you guys for all the love and the support. Um, you'll be able to download the album from my website, which is DonellJonesMusic.com. My Instagram is Donell Jones Forever. I know a lot of people don't know how to spell my name because they put 2 N's, but it's Donell Jones Forever. And my Instagram, not Instagram, but my Twitter is Donell Jones 96, and my Facebook is Donell Jones Music as well.
I'm definitely guilty of spelling it with 2 N's too. I was like, wait a minute. Is it really? It's been 1 N the whole time? Oh my
Yeah, it's
God.
1 N. Yeah.
All right, y'all. We are out. Toodles.